Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm honored to be here, and I thank you for choosing to share this space and time together on this beautiful Super Sunday. From this part of the world, we, the Transylvanian Unitarians, from time to time might seem too Christian. And if you go to my part of the world, if you go to Transylvania and ask my Protestant Hungarian fellows, we are not Christian enough. So it's a very strange situation. But the Transylvanian Unitarian Church defines itself as a Christian church, and we do use the Bible every Sunday. So this morning, at the beginning of the sermon, the reading comes from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 17, verse 20, which says, "Truly, I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move. Nothing is impossible for you. Truly, I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you." Dear brothers and sisters, how do you imagine your life in 10 or 20 years? What are your biggest dreams? What is the most important heritage you want to pass on to the future generations? I am sure that we all have many things we would like to keep, dreams we want to achieve, values we would like to hold on to. There are so many things that can happen, and so many things changed our attitude, our life, our relationships, our perception in the past. I think that one of human life's biggest beauty is the ability to cherish our memories and dream for tomorrow. We can recall places, voices, faces, and time we spent together. We can learn from our previous behavior, and we can learn from each other. And we can forge all our experiences onto our own story and go on dreaming about the future. Today, I invite you to a special journey that connects many aspects and communities of our lives. I invite you to start with me the recollection of our values in our very large Unitarian and our smaller communities. This is a special year. And these are the days when, as Unitarians all around the world, we look back to our 450 years old heritage and summarize. At the beginning of the 16th century, with the Reformation, finally more gates were open, and Unitarianism became the latest and most radical wing of this free thinking. Let's be proud of it. It is hard for us to imagine the germs of this new faith and the dynamics of that part of the world 450 years ago. When only 15 years earlier, on the western part of Europe, Michael Servetus was born to death for his anti-Trinitarian beliefs. In that society, where people were victimized for their different convictions and beliefs, at the time when it wasn't allowed to think or believe on your own way, for the first time in the world, a young prince, János Zsigmond, or John Sigismund, Prince of Transylvania and King of Hungary, and his court priest, Dávid Ferenc, reached to proclaim the religious freedom. 450 years ago, an insignificant little town in Transylvania made history. They transformed that small place into the land of tolerance. They recognized the importance of peace among religions and among nations. And most of all, they recognized that each individual has the freedom and the right to listen to their own inner voice. 450 years ago, the religious tolerance and that first proclamation on its last sentence says, "For faith is the gift of God, and this comes from hearing, which hearing is by the word of God." So we have enough reasons to celebrate. Our ancestors were the ones who realized the importance of the freedom. And we are the ones who need to work to keep this spirituality alive in our present. The proclamation of the religious freedom has its different meanings today, but its importance is undeniable. The Unitarian churches encountered joys and difficulties all around the world in the last centuries. But this pure, free faith works within our communities and our actions ever since. According to the verses from Jesus' teaching, we just need to feed that small mustard seed in our hearts. We need to take care of it and live according to it in our day-by-day life. And then, nothing is impossible for us. We started our journey with this large connection because that first act in 1568 is the beginning of the Hungarian Unitarian Church in Transylvania and the beginning of the religious freedom all around the world. From this large universal circle, we can now step closer to our more specific communities. As Unitarianism has different faces in different parts of the world, I believe it depends on the society. It depends on the educational level, the composition of the communities, and the history of this faith in those specific regions. I invite you to think about your own country, your own congregation, your own community. What did this connection give you? Which are the most important roots of your faith? How did this free and liberal thinking and faith strengthen you and your personality and your relationships? In Transylvania, most of the Unitarian people are born into their religion. Because of the strong tradition in our Hungarian communities, the faith goes on from parents to children. There still is a tradition which says that after marriage, the family keeps the religion of the man. I like to say that this is changing nowadays, but there are still families who live according to this. And I have no reasons to complain, because this is how I was baptized into Unitarianism. And I'm happy about it. My mother became Unitarian when she married my father. Beforehand, she was Reformed. But today, we are all happy with our Unitarian faith, and they both are proud of me, and they both miss me. I know this is different here. I know that many of you chose to become Unitarian Universalist, and that in itself is a virtue. It reflects exactly what that first proclamation wanted to achieve. And it also proves that it is a religion which brings people together, a religion which builds communities and keeps the values we believe in and want to hand over to the future generations. Now, please, take a few moments and line up all the values and good experiences your Unitarian Universalist faith and congregation and communities gave you so far. Let's think about all that we are proud of on our faith, while we are strengthening that small seed in our heart. And if you wish to say it out loud, please do. Please bring it to this space.
Caring.
I know that this line and these vibes can go on and on and on. And that's why we are lucky and blessed. Thank you so much for sharing. I also believe that all our experiences within a community teaches us about relationships and dynamics, about how we care for each other and what we can give to others. It allows us to widen our horizon and embrace diversity. It teaches us to seek the strengths in ourselves and in others. It teaches us loyalty and togetherness. And now we can narrow our communities even more. We can think of all that we learned and experienced on our primary community, our family. What do we bring from our ancestors, our family traditions, our genes? I can only answer this question for myself from all the information and experiences I have so far. I am a Transylvanian Unitarian minister, which also means that I am Hungarian. I was born and grew up in the city which I call Heart of Transylvania, Kolozsvár, on the land of Unitarianism, on the land that is now part of Romania. Transylvania is that region of Romania which used to be part of Hungary until 1920. And then from one day to another, it became part of Romania. So the Hungarian people woke up in a different country, on a foreign country, in a foreign language. My parents come from a little village close to my hometown. a little village that is internationally well known for its traditional songs and folk dance. This is where my passion for singing and dancing comes from. But this environment also gave me the deep feeling of Hungarian identity. It also gave me the love for nature and for the simple aspects of life. And it also gave me the very natural and traditional attitude to faith. Dear friends, I hope that you also gathered your treasures from all the communities you feel your own. I know, and I admit that our time travel today focused only on the good sides of our communities. But how can we not do this when we have such a great reason to celebrate? It is the faith that led us through these centuries. And we know that true faith can move mountains. As we know from many verses of the Bible, how Jesus gives back the health, the trust, the power to people by strengthening their faith. Let's find that power within us. I admit that nowadays we also have things to stand against, things we need to change. The freedom of religion is still not complete. The acceptance of each other is not always the reality. The world, the countries, our leaders, our communities are not exactly how we were dreaming of. But we have that small seed in ourselves. We have the strong faith to hold on to and move mountains if needed. Because nothing is impossible for those who have faith. When we think ahead for the future of Unitarianism and Unitarian Universalism, there are values that strengthen us and help us hold on. Some of the most important ones for me, which I think we need to keep strengthening for our common future, are communication, love, and communities. The way we communicate in our very close and in our wider communities makes a huge difference. We need to learn to tell our truth and accept that others might think differently about the same question. And that is good. That is human. This makes our world and our communities a colorful place for each one of us. Love has different meaning for us. And I believe that we have to start from within, to find our best selves and walk into the world with the intention of looking everybody in their eyes and see the warmth of that person. See the warmth of their reality. Because love guides us together. Love builds bridges, teaches us with every step on our growing journey. And I think we all agree that we need human beings around us. We need people around us. We need communities. We need place and time to be together, to share, to help, to dream and build. We need to feel that there are groups we belong to, places where we are accepted and loved unconditionally. We need the space where our joy grows with each other's joy, and our grief relieves on sharing. Let's work for communities that can truly live and give what real love means for us. Dear friends, I don't know if David Ferenc was dreaming of 450 years of Unitarianism and Unitarian Universalism and about all these wonderful communities around the world. But he certainly had faith. And he had the courage to act according to his unconquerable faith. Let's believe and act together for at least 450 more years of Unitarianism and Unitarian Universalism all around the world. May it be so. Amen.